Chicago Bears defeated the Minnesota Vikings at that sad sack of Chip Stadium up in Minnesota, 1917. Last second field goal by Cairo Santos got the Bears another victory in the last seconds of the game. This is unprecedented what the Bears are doing. This is the third time this season they have won a game with no time on the clock. So we're seeing kind of reminds you of the 2001 Chicago Bears when they would win all those crazy games and in the final seconds. You remember the Mike Brown interception in overtime. Then you had I believe it was James Anderson. He caught a touchdown pass off a Hail Mary from Shane Matthews, and the Bears beat the Cleveland Browns I think it was another Mike Brown interception. And they won all these crazy games. But this is kind of similar. This is a similar season. The Bears they're riding the magic carpet. They are on that magic carpet. How far is going to get them? I don't know. I mean, this team they don't look really impressive each week. They're not, and I think that's just because they're just in the beginning stages of learning how to win games. And this is good. I mean, you can't expect this team to be great overnight. I get that. Um, we all want the quarterback to throw for 330 yards and four TDs because he's the number one overall pick. Trust me, I'm one of those people that expect that every week. But when you look at it in a realistic standpoint, he's got to continue to progress under this new system that Ben Johnson's implemented. And I get that the guy up north, as I call him, Drake May, is still doing great things for New England, but this is a process here for the Bears. Hopefully, we're just waiting for that one game where we have a similar game like the Dallas Cowboys. It could be next week against Pittsburgh Steelers. It could be next week. I just have a feeling Pittsburgh hasn't won in Chicago since 1995. 30 years. Pittsburgh Steelers have not won at Soldier Field. So they still just don't play well at Soldier. They just don't. And you have to understand that some teams they just don't play well in certain stadiums, and the Tomlin teams have never been great at Soldier Field. And I expect the Bears come out maybe lay some wood on the Steelers next Sunday at 1 p.m. at Soldier Field. Now, getting back to this game, man. I was going through it, man. And by the way, excuse my voice. I was in New York City over the weekend, and just to tell you a little story, I took the wife to a concert for a birthday as we celebrated her birthday. So we basically we Friday night went to the concert, had a good time. Then Saturday was the day we was gonna go to New York City. So I went to New York City on Saturday, and New York City it's just it seems like it's like it's over. I mean, look, I understand. Yes, it is overcrowded, but generally, sometimes when we go, especially like around 10, 11 o'clock, we get there, and normally the train might not be so crowded, but this time around, every train was crowded. Every train was congested. It was a headache. I was ready to go back to my room by 6 p.m. That's how bad it was. And you just are not going to go to New York City and not come back with something. And unfortunately, I think I've coming down with a cold. It's not a bad cold. It's kind of like a sore throat, little head cold. My voice has changed a little bit. It's not bad. Could be a lot worse. Could have, because we all have different stages of a cold. The common cold. We have the chest congestion cold. I think I have a little bit of that. And then you got the sinus cold, when your nose is always running, and that's the worst. And you just everything is just and the chest congestion, generally when you have a lot of mucus and cough up mucus, I don't have that. It's like a weird, like sore throat, but you got to drink a lot of tea, and it's because I like coffee. But generally when I get a cold like this calls for tea. The tea, with a little bit of honey, a little bit of lemon juice, and then a little shot of Hennessy. Right, that's a little white Henny. And take a little shot of that with my tea. Maybe, it just gives a little, that's just a little old school, but your little brown liquor helps. try to soothe the easy cold a little bit. So I'm going through that. But getting back to this game, man, I the Bears just keep winning these games, and like I said, they're mentally stable. This is a mentally stable team right now, and what you're seeing is a team that's very strong minded. They're strong willed. They're going to find a way to get the job done. Devin Duvernay. Devin Duvernay is I've been down on him all season because he just has not been what we thought we were getting. And if you remember him for the Baltimore Ravens, you didn't watch him closely, but when you saw some of the highlights, you'll see him returning, kickoff returns and punt returns for touchdowns, and he gets to us and he's like laying down, like, dude, what are you like? When are we gonna get something out of you? Devin Duvernay finally came through when it mattered most as he took a kickoff return. I think he took about 50 yards down to the maybe 60 yards, took it down to the Vikings 35-yard line. And then from there, the Bears were able to get in. I think they got a nice run from DeAndre Swift, get him down to the 25-yard line, and was able to make a nice field goal from Cairo Santos to win the game. And I call him weak leg. Weak leg finally got it done. But listen, man, this team is going to be in a lot of close games. They are. They probably the toughest game on the schedule right now is the Eagles on that Black Friday. That's going to be a tough game. I think they can beat the Packers. I think they can at least take one or two from the Packers, especially at Soldier Field. Even in Lambeau, we beat them in Lambeau last year, so they can possibly take one in Lambeau. But I think the Packers are getting kind of ripe for the taking. The Packers barely beat the Giants yesterday. But I think the Packers are right for the taking. And Detroit Lions, since Dan Campbell's taken over that play calling, he ain't been all that sharp. So by the time we face Dan Campbell again, I think that's the last game of the season. Who knows where the Detroit Lions will be at because his play calling stunk last night against the Eagles and they fell apart and they gave up first place to Chicago Bears. So this is Bears fans, we deserve this. It's been since 2018, this late in the season, that the Bears are in first place. Sometimes all the struggle, all the bad losses from the past, it gets made up when you go through things like what you're going through, these last second miracles, these wins, and it's just so fulfilling. We finally, at one point, you think, are we cursed? Are we this? Are we that? But come to find out, no. It's just the nature of the ups and downs, and that's football league. Unfortunately, the Bears are not a team that wins consistently. Unfortunately, one of those teams that were instability at the top has caused them not to win consistently. It's just a lot of instability with decision making and things like that. They might have got this right. They got this coaching hire right. It feels right. They got the coaching staff. You got Dennis Allen running the defense. You got Al Harris running the defensive backs. The defensive backs is one of the best in the league. They lead the league in interception and turnovers. So I mean, this team can really, this team is really heading in the right direction. Then this is on the heels of Jalen Johnson, the big news of the week. He came back in a 21-day window of returning. And then you got Kyler Gordon, who I've been down on also, but he's supposed to be coming back. So by the time December rolls around, we could have almost a healthy defense that we've been waiting to see all year long. And you got to give props to Nashawn Wright. And Nashawn Wright just lost one of his mentors and coaches, John Beam, the high school last chance U coach who recently just got shot and killed, unfortunately. But Nashawn Wright had a big game and big interception in the end zone. And of course, you can see he was kind of shaken after that, as far as like in an emotional state because he lost his coach. So good for Nashawn Wright. And of course, Kevin Byard went to the Fountain of Youth. He's leading the league in interception with 5. The Bears are on the way, man. They found a way to get it done. This marks the sign of a good team. It really does. So you got Pittsburgh coming to town, who hasn't won a Soldier in 30 years. You got to be really feeling good about that. I think next week could be similar to the Dallas game. I think the Bears could lay the hammer I think we'll finally see 30 points next week against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I do see that. I was right on my prediction about Caleb against Brian Flores defense. Kind of pedestrian numbers. Still put up 193. That's good for Flores defense because the week prior to Baltimore Ravens, Lamar Jackson wasn't all that great against that same defense. So props to Caleb. I've been tough on the kid. But he's scratching and clawing. He's getting the job done. We didn't he didn't throw any touchdown passes, but he had once again Mercedes 0 turnovers. This team does not turn the ball over, and that's been a positive outset, a positive denominator for this team that they just don't give up. They just don't turn the ball over. JJ McCarthy, on the other hand, he turned it over twice, and that contributed to points for the Bears. So although JJ, led the team on a scoring drive late in the game, those turnovers eventually end up hurting the Minnesota Vikings. Bear down, first place Bears. Congrats to all Bears fans across the nation. You guys deserve it. We all deserve it. We've been struggling for so long. So finally, another victory Monday. And man, we how many times did we say victory Monday under the Matt Eberflus era? Like I don't think we ever. That's like maybe once or twice we might have said Victory Monday, Happy Victory Monday, but this is becoming very consistent. So props to the Bears, 7-3, bear down, first place Bears.